Hey everybody, going to be doing a just kind of random video. I'm kind of just sitting around at work, a little bit stuck, just waiting for things to go through on the job, and I thought I'll use the time to put up a video. So today's topic is going to be guild raid related, and we're going to be talking about I guess techniques for double killing and triple killing bosses. Now obviously there is a huge difference in guild raid ability with the top two guilds. Generally for most servers, arguably the top 3 to 5, depending on the server, depending on what point in time, because right now Asia is completely dominated by clovers. But that difference is not very difficult to make up. And there's a lot of things that are very free-to-play friendly about the current state of guild raid. A lot of people kind of complain about these things. I think it's probably the best thing that's ever happened in guild raid myself, but everybody can have their own opinion on those types of things. So what we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to show you my current triple kill setup. It differs from person to person. It's a very finely tuned thing. This is the original, this is the masteries I'm using. The paper mastery, most people would probably have maxed out. Defense doesn't matter at all on today's as well. But we're going to be talking about the concepts as well. So I'm going to show you the setup, and then we're going to go into the details about the concepts of why this works and why it doesn't work. We're going to look at the heroes, and hopefully you can come away kind of pulling something out of what you currently know to maybe get yourself to the point where you're going to be able to triple kill, which is the goal. These same principles obviously work for double kill as well, because it is a matter of tuning damage. So just keep those things in mind while we're going through, but I will be doing it towards triple kill directly, but just keep in mind all these principles still work for double kill. All right, so the first, well, I should probably do the original setup. The original setup for triple kill, and this is before the Tower of God event. It wasn't so widely done because there was only 2 accounts that had done triple kill before then, and I controlled both of those accounts. So it was my main account and then Dimitri account were the only accounts that had done triple kill pre-TOG on the global server. There were some in Asia, and I believe Korea, but I'm not 100% sure. I want to say yes, but I'm not sure. Maybe if anybody knows any better, they can correct it down in the comments below. Anyway, and then Noel was in this position here. Now, the concept behind that setup, just going to turn it off. The concept behind that setup, I'll just set it back so you can start and just imagine what Noel going in this position right here. But the concept behind this setup was based off of the amazing synergy between, oh, I just instinctively did it. The amazing synergy between Serenity, Ian, and Rage. These now Hong is a must-have because the lava terrain needs to be present for you to be able to get the boss killed on lava. But there's some major issues that come up in this setup. The triple kill challenge had a unique challenge that was not really present in the double kill scenarios. The double kill scenarios, we had this issue with getting the kill order to line up. So we had all these different techniques and ways to move attacks away or displace attacks, maybe by using awakening skills or things like that, or just or even counters. Lots of different things that we could have, because the amount of output that each hero has to have is basically, well, let's just call it X for now. But if you do this, then this next hero attacking will always do so much damage and so on. And there's ways that you can play with and manipulate those things. I'm going to call that general displacement, or just displacement for of your damage, because what you need to be able to do is reach the amount of damage required to be able to kill the boss twice or 3 times per turn. So in a triple kill scenario with your 5 heroes and the 6th hero being the Merc, then every 2 heroes has to kill. And the last two have to leave the boss alive to die on the lava. Now, the boss gains 2,400 HP per death, which means in a triple kill, every turn he gains 7,200 HP. So lava does 10% of his health, and the triple kill, I'll just tell you, he's around 393,000 HP damage from lava, which means he's 3.93 million health total, and he's taking 10% of that in lava damage at the end of the turn. So if he has over that in HP by turn, let's just say 40, 41, 42, then obviously the tune's going to go off, the lava won't kill, and then your whole team will wipe because the boss is just way too strong at those points in time. But anyway, let's look at the formation here. We'll get into these other details later. This was originally designed with a few things in mind. One, Serendi did not need terrain because final skill power was not remarkably abundant. It wasn't something that we had so much of. Lily had just come out and just been patched and had this amazing passive which gave us an unreal amount of extra damage that we were able to do. All the heroes are going to be getting lava terrain, which is generally the easiest or best terrain to have, because we had the Oath of Flame set, which gave not only terrain, which is a 20% modifier, but also 10% attack. So generally a very good set, though you would rather just have terrain through runes, because you could also get it from runes as well. In this formation, the only hero that can be countered is Ian, and Ian gets a kill literally every time he attacks, so that is not an issue. There is a small variation I'll show you after when I talk more about displacement with Serendi using a pass set, but this was the original triple kill setup. So Ian, Serendi, and Rage all special co-op off of one or two of the others. Lily gives everybody an obscene amount of damage. Serendi's passive while on a field tile gives her 20% final skill power, which is massive, and it's basically on par with having with the small amounts that we have of final skill power, especially when this came out, because this was pre-TOG. That is a lot of final skill power. It was almost on par with having terrain advantage. Hong is giving the rest of the team lava advantage as well. There's variations where you can have Noel on a field tile where she doesn't benefit from Hong, or if she's wearing an aura or buff set like a Commander of the Central Knight set, she does not buff Hong, but she can she's a natural field hero, so if she was on the field tile, then we could get natural terrain advantage for her as well. Now this is the first thing that's amazing about this really simple looking setup. One, everybody gets terrain. Two, everybody gets direction. And three, nobody can be countered. So those are amazing things. The next thing that's probably the next most important is basically everyone, except, like, aside from Serendi and Hong, are in a 2-tile radius of one another, a 2-tile square. So Commander of Central Knights, Master of Strategy, the Goblin set for slot 1, the Goblin King set, they hit the entire party for all of them. It's a very popular choice for the Mercenary to be wearing a Commander of the Central Knights instead of a Wisdom from the East set because of that, because it does buff the entire team. The 4 heroes that are in the middle, which would be Lily, Rage, Noel, and Ian, are in a 2-tile radius of everybody in the formation. So you can really start racking up massive amounts of damage boost for your whole team with that in mind. The next thing that we have is Rage is in the kill slot. He is benefiting from his passive. His passive is remarkably powerful. It is not as powerful as Noel's passive, though, which is why one of the reasons why Noel is the Merc. Noel is using skill 1. She gets a final skill power bonus for being 3 tiles away. Her skill 1 with her Valk Soul Gear gives it like 185% or so. as a skill, so it's basically on par with any third skill. And if you don't get lava walk on your Merc, then she does have natural fields. There's ways to arrange this to make that work as well. But she co-ops very, very powerfully with everybody, because her basic skill is so strong and she has all these extra boosts. Her passive is basically the same as Rage's, only if she's afflicted by the movement debuff from like Nomad's Rest or something, she gets another 20% final skill power on top of that even. So there's definitely a lot of ways to make Null a powerhouse. And her co-ops are like, they hit like a truck. With Serendi also is not super powerful, but does have an SS co-op and gets specials from both Rage and Ian. So her turns are usually very good with her. Now this is the first bit of displacement that we have in the formation. Serendi is only using skill 1, where you'd think it'd be better for her to use skill 3 for her and Ian to be able to kill the boss. But in this situation, because this formation was made pre-Tog, her being able to displace damage towards the back is very, very good. Very, very good. Now, the original gear required to do this setup before the Tower of God event was ridiculous. Minimum 2 to 3 changing futures, lava sets on everybody, 3 or 4 hungry predators. Like you needed an obscene amount of ramp damage, because with triple kill, the biggest issue that we had to overcome was turn 1 and turn 2, fine. They're fine. Because let's walk it through the boss stages. So turn 1, everybody kills with their attack, except for the Merc, because if the boss is able to move in this position, the formation will fall apart. So the Merc has to leave the boss alive. The Merc attacks the 1.6 million HP boss. I think it's like 1.68 million. So the Merc has to hit just enough to leave it alive. So that's the first restriction on Null, and why she's so good for this position. Because her passive is like Rage's, but does not give full effect upon kill, but gives a increasing effect upon every action taken or turn. I forget exactly. But she gets the same increase every turn, so it's a massive ramp of attack and crit damage. It's a very, very, very powerful passive. So turn 1 and turn 2, very similar, because turn 1 you need the 1.6, and then turn 2 we're at the boss level 8, which has the 3.1 million HP, almost 3.2. So your first hero in that setup, Lily, has to only hit enough so that the ramped Null that barely left the 1.6 million boss alive is not going to overkill the 3.1 boss. And that's all good and fun, because the numbers roughly line up pretty easily just by nature of being able to gear to do that much damage in the first place. But then turn 3 starts. Now we have our first issue on turn 3. Serendi is only using skill 1, because in the past we didn't have enough damage to make her skill 3 and for this formation to work, because we needed all the heroes to be in range of the the aura sets and so on, to get the maximum amount of buffs possible for the entire team. So Serendi's using skill 1, not skill 3. So now Serendi and Ian are going to have to kill a 3.6 million boss. So have you ramped enough to be able to make this work from your turn 1 and your turn 2. And then Hong and Rage, usually a lot easier to get the kills going with. But then you get to Lily and Noel again. Now remember, Lily and Noel they're very limited in the amount of damage that they were able to do in turn 1 and 2. Now turn turn 3, you go from having a 3.1 mil boss that 2 heroes split. Turn 1, it's just 1 hero hitting the 1.6. Turn 2, it's 2 heroes hitting the 3.1. Turn 3, it's 2 heroes hitting a 3.6. So now you have to be able to get yourself from just the ramp damage alone. Instead of, for what you did, the damage-wise, the turn before, you have to be able to get the boss into the 3.6 million HP Labadeth range, which is about 363,000 health or so. And if you're not at that number, then it will not continue, obviously. So you need to have a jump of around 300,000-400,000 damage in a single turn, which is hard. That was the biggest challenge, which was why we had so many ramp sets. So many ramp sets. Lily's damage, for the most part, because Lily was wearing almost all aura sets, like the Hail to the Lord, the Master of Strategy, like a Commander of the Central Knights, if you have it, the Goblin, if you have it, like, or what's for slot 2, Lava Walk, maybe a Cave Chaser, or if Lava Walk you didn't have, then maybe the Veteran Mountain Climber set. You know, things that are going to make the rest of the team stronger are higher priority for Lily, because Lily is getting all of her damage, or his damage, or whatever the hell Lily is, from the co-ops from the other heroes. So that is the next major displacement. Serenity's the first major displacement because we're putting her in a position where she can't use her skill 3. But she's going to be a stronger hero in general because she's in range of all of the aura buffs from all the other buff holders like Noel or Lily, for example. And her co-op is SS rank. So we've displaced her maximum turn damage for using her 3rd skill to make her co-op stronger to affect the center and back end teams by sacrificing the damage on her team, because there's the 3 teams of 2 in the setup. This next one is what I say with Lily. Yes, because Lily is displacing her direct damage to be able to wear the buff sets to buff the rest of the team. So if all the other heroes are wearing full buff, full ramp gear, they're all wearing things like Changing Future or Hungry Predator or the like, then they're ramping up. And Lily is giving all these aura set buffs to all of these heroes. Now, the more they ramp up, the more compound the ramp is, because it's affecting all the other modifiers that are being added on through the buff sets that Lily is making. So you're taking away her direct damage to make the co-op stronger. So that's how you can make the ramp effect work better. And that works as another displacement, because you can't have Lily too strong to turn 2, but you need everybody to be stronger turn 3, and it's the only way that it's going to work like that. Well, there is another way, but we'll get into that in a future time. So that's the general idea. Then you have from turn 3 to turn 9-10, depending on if the Merc is wearing a Changing Future or not, to get the boss's HP as low as possible through as many ramp sets as you can, which is why it used to take as many as 3 Changing Future sets. Because turn 3 to 4, you have the last activation of Hungry Predator fully active for the entire team. So the back end will get a huge chunk off from turn 3 to turn 4, because it's that plus the Changing Future ramps. And then the Changing Future ramps, if you had 2 to 3 of them, would ramp continually until turn 9-10, depending on if the Merc was wearing one or not, because obviously if the Merc is wearing one, it's not active for the attack that Lily has, which is why when it gets the increase on its turn, the damage would be, you would do more overall damage on turn 10 than on turn 9, even though it fully ramps at 9. But that was how we had this setup working and how it ran. Now, after TOG, it is remarkably easy to do this. It is so easy that every member in my guild is doing triple kill. We have, I think, 23 or 24 accounts doing triple kill with our friends in Chance if they do decide to come back and raid with me in Hellstorm. I think we probably have around 30 to 35 because there's quite a few accounts that are just not, like, they have the gear, and I personally know that they have the gear to be able to do these things, and they just kind of feel like not raiding, so it's just, they're just not doing it. Looking at you, Suffocate. But that's that. So here's the next thing. So now that we're so much stronger now we don't want to be displacing Serendity's damage towards the back end. So with this position, now we can put Serenity with a pass set to stop getting countered, and now she can use her skill 3. Oh, sorry, the wrong position there. And everything else, now there's a lot of variations to this, but this is the general idea. And because we don't need Noel to be in range of buffing Serenity, we can start her on the field tile as well, so she gets a stronger co-op for the initial attack. And that setup will allow us to displace Serenity co-op damage from the back end to make the back end weaker, so that we don't overkill on turn 1 or 2 and wipe the formation. And we can have a higher overall score as well too, because all the real score is done from overkilling of the boss. So you know what, actually I believe this is my appropriate mercenary I chose, and this is the setup that I generally use, or that I used last. I did make a major change this week to some gear. It didn't pan out. I didn't beat my high score, but I really haven't had time to work on my own scores for the last few weeks. I've been helping a lot of the guild members instead, kind of neglecting my own stuff. But I'll show you how the thing plays out. So turn 1, everybody gets a kill. And you can use the numbers going up on the screen for every attack as kind of a benchmark to how close you are. You want to be hitting around at least 10 million or so for an entry level triple kill. Like if you're not at 20 million health, 20 million points after the first 2 attacks, you're probably going to come up a little shy. Or you need to have one hell of a merc that's going to make some crazy magic happen for you. So everybody kills turn 1. We're at the 1.68 boss now, and then the boss gets left alive with surprisingly more health than I thought. Turn 2, now we're at a point where every other attack will kill. So he gets a kill again. Rage has got a kill from last turn, so he has his passive activated now. So that is part of the ramp as well. Why we don't overkill turn 1, but why we will overkill turn 2. Sorry, it won't. We'll get a bunch of ramp going from turn 2 onwards. And then, okay, good. So this is very suboptimal. Like, obviously, it'd be better to have this number down as low as it can go for this turn. So maybe I should just play around with the one that I made yesterday and see if I can get it refined down to nothing. Then turn 3. Again, we're on the 3.6 bosses now, so this is where you know if you've actually got enough damage that it's going to work, at least for any amount of turns. You need to go 38 turns if you're going to get into the 1 billion point mark, which if you're going to want to beat your double kill scores, it's really not worth all this effort if you're not going to be beating them by a lot. So there we go. Turn 3, I just want to show you this. Oh wow, this is actually short. Yeah, this is going to fail. Let's just end that. Well, whatever. Might as well show. This is your team just gets completely stomped. So I guess that wasn't my merc. I don't know who the merc is anymore. Too much games. Feels bad, man. But that's generally how it works. And then from there, it might be crazy to believe, but the amount of damage that you will go down is crazy high. I probably have a bunch of runes I took off Lily. Nope. Did I change something? Huh, I wonder what I changed. This is the gear that I have on everybody right now, by the way. I guess that would be kind of beneficial for a lot of people to see. Oh, that's right. I put Swamp Access on him. Okay. Alright, yeah, I put Rage to be a Swamp Hero. I just wasn't paying attention to that. Just so I could put a Sniper on him instead of the rune. But the thing is, because it's not an attack rune and it doesn't have boss damage on it, I think it's actually better for him to just have Oath of Flame. I just was playing out with different things. I'll still show the gear that I'm using right now, because it's not really gonna hurt me if anybody sees it. I'm sure everybody that wants to know can come and look whenever they want, but just for convenience, I'll put some things here. This set is fantastic, by the way. If you didn't get it, that's really too bad for you. But this way I have no lava sets on slot 1. Do I have on slot 2? No, I don't. Okay. Well, I got all these lava sets. I recently took one of my Oath of Flames and transcended it into one of my other ones. So I used to have 3 Oath of Flames in the Cave Chaser, and now I've just got 2 and 1. I don't even use them. A lot of people say CCRG is on par in damage with this Netherworld Overlord set. It is not. I don't know why everybody believes it is. Maybe it's some confusion because when they go and battle alone and test or something, it has the party buff as well as the power for the set. But I do significantly more damage with this Overlord set. I don't know why so many people think that it's different. I've taken my wisdoms almost completely off because it's really hard for me to stay in the damage needed. I like that this is another form of displacement. For example, this Wisdom of these set buffs everybody. This set buffs Rage, so his co-ops are stronger, so that does make everybody a little bit stronger if his co-ops are stronger, but not as much as if this 2,100 attack was given to everybody. That's a 12,000 attack set versus a 35% crit damage set. I don't have 3 of them, otherwise I'd be using that, so I just have this 2-piece right now. Though I guess I could put a balance set on Ian. I think I got that one. But anyway, another time. And I do have a 3rd Changing Future, and I think that's where I'm going to be going next. I'm going to get rid of the God of Massacre set for overall damage and then replace with more ramp damage. I hope that gets me a net benefit, because then I can have a stronger Merc and a stronger overall team. Rage would be overall weaker though, so I'm still not sure exactly how that one's going to pan out for me once I have it going, because I haven't done enough testing with God of Massacre versus Changing Future. But if I could have a weaker early turn, a weaker early game, so I don't overkill, and then a stronger later game, which the only way to judge that is by your overkills and how much HP the boss has before the lava at turn 10 to 12. Anyway, well, we can go into that stuff later. But I do have a lava rune and I guess a swamp rune here right now. So I might as well show you an alternative formation then. Let's pick the same Merc. Got all these people that want to be the Merc, but it's really hard to find somebody with the appropriate gear and runes to be on par with like a superpower player like Velas. Okay, you there, you there, you there. You are, I guess, on this swamp. There and there. Yeah, okay, so that would have been my, if you have a swamp rune. Like, if you have a swamp or water or a field or lava, those are all fantastic runes for today. If you have a Sharp Advance set, you could arguably say Thorn, but you can just put the Sharp Advance on Ian because he's a natural Thorn walk. So if you're trying to make something like this work with the things that you do have, then all those 4 terrain runes are good, Thorn being the weakest. It's only valuable if you have the Sharp Advance set. But Swamp, Water, and Field are all fantastic for today. And especially field on Serenity, because she gets a 20% final skill power buff for being on a field with her passive. And then she gets terrain on top of that. That'd be 20% final skill power, and then 20% terrain. It's pretty awesome. It used to be 30% terrain for field because it's not impassable and it doesn't do damage. And they nerfed it down to 20%, I believe, during one of the Maple Story events, because they were making all these overpowered Maple Story heroes with field terrain. I don't know why they had to nerf all the field walk heroes for that. It's depressing. Okay, that's more like it. Well, that's actually really depressing then, because it means that I did all this extra annoying stuff moving my gear around, and there's literally no damage I could add to the back end anymore. The weakening Lily is a very effective way, because you're only weakening, like if you take runes off Lily, for example, you only weaken Lily's attack. But like I said before, Lily's damage is the result of the remarkable co-ops from heroes around them. Alright, so I'm at 269,000 at turn 3. Now I just wanted you to see the effects of the ramps, and I'll go and I'll show you Noel's passive, and then I'm going to close this video out. It's gone on long enough. I should probably get back inside, check on my stain and finish. I just want to kind of give you the idea of just how much these sets ramp and how much more it is based off of the additional buff effects that you have. So just looking at this, we have Ian's hero mark for the 10% attack and the mastery and such. We have Rage's hero mark for a good chunk of attack to everybody. We have Hong's hero mark for the terrain damage buff as well. And then we just have really overpowered co-ops from Serenity and from Noel, and the most outrageous passive skill of all time on Lily. Lily's passive is stronger than all 3 hero marks put together, in my opinion. So, not to be discounted at all. But I do want to do another video just on the core concepts around double killing and triple killing, and fine-tuning your teams, and being able to take advantage of certain mechanics that are available to us, especially with tight formations like this where everybody's in range of one another. They aren't as fun to watch. Like, it's like this one especially, it's set up from moment one and nobody moves and nobody's countered, nothing happens the entire time. Like in the past, the setups would take 2 to 3 turns sometimes to set up, and they'd be fun to watch and everything like that. But sadly, the strongest output you're going to get is the one where you can get full use out of the most amount of turns possible. So having these long setup formations where they're elaborate and cool things happen are just not as beneficial as things like this. With the buff to Ildo only taking 80,000 damage if he's got 2 charges, I don't think it's actually possible to make any teams or team formations that are going to be better than just having him sit there and stay alive. I don't see it anyway. I don't know why everybody likes to rage. Like, there's a lot of people in our rival guild, if you can even call them that anymore, that are very against the idea of the double kill and triple kill setup. I don't know why. I think all their reasons are stupid, just to begin with. Like, at the end of the day, we were like, maybe a 2 or 3 turn setup was cool, but you're sitting there watching the boss take a pummeling for 47 turns. What's like having 1 or 2 more turns? And it's not like there's no smart or good setups. Alright, so we're down to 41,000 HP. So you need to be around 100,000 health, preferably just shy of 100,000. If you want to go 50 turns, because the 7200 ramp is going to last for 40 turns. That's 288,000. life that the boss is going to gain from that point on. Now, if you have the Torn Throne, I'll show you 10 and 11 and 12. If you have a single Torn Throne, it's I think 1 is really good. 2 I don't think every formation is good for 2, because 2 is quite a lot. 1, basically, the boss can still gain, depending on the hero it's on, obviously, because some co-ops are worth more than others, which is another form of displacement and moving your damage around, more of a finer tuning issue. But most of the time, only one hero wearing Torn Throne, the boss's HP will go up. So you can use the 10 turns, get it down really, really, really low, like into the single digits, and then not have to worry turn 11 and turn 12, unless you have multiple Torn Thrones, depending on the hero that it's on. Like if I had Torn Throne on, let's say Serendi was getting the kill instead of Ian, and I had it on Serendi, she has an SS co-op, so we're at 31,000 now. I just want to get that shown. So that's probably a bad choice, but not a horrible choice. Let's say I was using Ian as my slot in the Knoll slot, for example, or maybe we'll do one of the days with the Tower of God heroes. Let's say my anchor slot in slot 6, my Merc is in Dorsey. If I put a really strong set on Bam, that co-op's going to be worth a ton. So basically the HP has stayed more or less the same from last turn. Like I think it's less than 1,000 gain. So that's like when it's supposed to go up 7,200. So the Torn Throne basically takes 2 turns of your ramp off for your max HP required before your tune down, which can be very useful to you. And I'm not going to let this go up 50 turns. Hopefully you were able to glean something from my little rambling session here. I'm going to get back to work and hope everybody has a good day. How do I turn this damn thing off?